Yep.
And we are live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome, Aly, and welcome, Izzy. What an amazing day you've been having, Aly. Gosh, we're so excited for you, and we can't wait to hear the story, and we can't wait for you to tell everyone else's story because it's just been such an amazing ride for you. So tell us how it came about. Tell us what's been happening over the last 24 hours. Maybe start with tell us what's happening in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, so I put out my new song, Freedom's New Zealand, or Freedom New Zealand, and it's just gone amazing. And on Twitter, a friend, which is Dr. McCulloch, shared it overnight. I put it up late yesterday afternoon, and he's got like 900,000 followers. He's a great guy, one of the greatest cardiologists in the world. That's another whole story how we met. But he shared it, and then Avi Yemeni today from Rebel News also shared it, and loads of other people. And it's just, I think, last time I looked there, it was on about 27,000 views or something in less than 24. I think we're almost 24 hours actually, and from actually having uploaded it, sitting on 28,000.1 on Twitter for views. Wow. And 1,000 on YouTube, 1,000 on Facebook. So that's, I'm pretty pleased with that. Yeah.
So Aly, what is the song about? You've got international attention over this song. What is the song about?
Well, just basically about freedom, and I wanted to feel like the freedom community, which I'm part of, about bringing that together and keeping unity and celebrating us. I guess we've, some of us have been divided apart. The society's been divided, and I wanted something that felt good, that united everyone and made everyone feel like coming together to come together in this election, basically, because we have one of the most important elections happening in New Zealand's history. Right. And I think that'll be the same for the US election next year. Everywhere right now, people are standing up for freedoms, for Bill of Rights all over the world. We're probably the first ones to have the opportunity to reflect that in our vote. And so, yeah, that's really what it's about.
So tell us about this songwriting process, Aly. I'm fascinated. I've never written a song in my life, and I don't think I ever will. So give me some insight on how it comes about, and does it come about because, you're passionate about something, you're thinking about something so much that, you didn't flow into some words and lyrics, and when does the music get added in? Give us that insight so we have some idea.
Yeah, well, everyone has a different process, I guess, a way of writing. Some people like to pick up their guitar and write chords and feel what comes. I tend to wake up with the song in my head, and it's a funny sort of thing. I've always felt like that comes from some other place other than me, and I feel like I'm just the vehicle that it flows through. And often when it's songs that come down really, really fast, like this song, it really feels like it's just come through on a sort of a spiritual level. And especially when you can't write it down fast enough, especially when you hear it fully produced in your head. And I was talking about that with the music producer of this, Jesse Wild, the other day, and it's the same. Like if it comes very fast, it's like you just know you can't get it out quick enough. And it was quite interesting because when I heard it with that kind of almost military snare beat right through it, and I wrote it with that in my head while I was writing it and playing it. And in the end, we just moved that out to the end of where we had the freedoms, and that was because people at the protest would yell freedom, and then everybody go freedom, and I thought, oh wow, I put that at the front and put it at the back, and we put the snare beat under that, and then a rock beat in the middle. So it's just a process that the way it develops, but I often actually hear it just completely with the band and the vocals. Like I already knew where the blocks of gospel type crossover vocals went. Like I could hear them in my head as I was writing it. So it's like that's just the way for me that it happens anyway with songwriting. It's not the same for everybody. They all have different processes. Yeah.
Beautiful. Aly, what would you say would be the most poignant lyric sentence in your song?
Wow. So there's a lot of poignant ones in there because it is pretty much in your face with everything that's going on. The song doesn't beat around the bush. So, but I think, Freedom New Zealand, get our freedom back, but you have to be bold. Like for me, that's really important because it's about being brave. Because sometimes actually my friend calls it like the golf club syndrome, people know there's something not quite right, but you don't want to say that because everybody at the golf club might think that we're strange if we say that, so it's sort of like that whole golf club syndrome where people know there's something wrong. They know it's not right, but they can't put their finger on what's right, or they're not brave enough to say what's right. And so I'm saying we have to be bold, and I think when it comes to the election, there's very much a mentality of, anything other than a vote for left or right is always a waste. Well, it's not. That's why we have MMP, so that we can have different voices come in to joining in and becoming the MPs that run a country. We have that system, and for us, that's what's gone wrong. We had one party that won an overall majority, which meant they could pass any law, no matter what anybody had to say about it. And we don't ever want it. We don't ever want to be in that situation again. And I think that's why we need a balance of people across a community to help make a community's decisions, or help to listen to the community.
That's right. So tell us, so obviously you were very active in the last 3 years with all the protests, and last, 2.5 years with the protest movement. Which protest movements, did you go across, all the protest movements, or there were some particular ones that you were part of, or?
I've been on a groundswell with the tractors because I'm a rural girl. I've been to the Wellington protest. I went to the Wellington protest because I felt a need to go there, and many people on my pages will know that I have a vaccine-injured son. And so I was there for my son primarily. And I went for a walk around the streets with Linda Wharton's signs from the Health Forum that I didn't have one with my son's picture on it, but I had somebody else's picture, and we would go out of the protest and we would go for a walk through Wellington with the signs. And I did that a couple of times. And yeah, I went to the protest, and I just totally, what I got there was not what I expected. I walked up to get my phone charged, and there was this place where you could charge your phones, and I went, wow, everyone's just leaving their iPhones and their valuable phones on this table, and they're walking away from them. And I'm actually a person that's run events all my life, wine festivals and stuff, and it was the safest place to actually walk away from anything you own. Somebody else would go, don't worry about that, love, I'll look after that, you just come back when it's charged. And there was all these, all the stuff that I just saw, and people just hugging that didn't know each other. The first people I met was 4 Air New Zealand captains, actually. Two of them were 737 captains, and 4 of them were Q300 captains who'd walked away from their jobs. And I thought, wow, this is not some river of filth. This is actually like professionals. And then you'd go into the health tent, and there'd be like cardiac nurses and psychiatrists and pathologists, and it was full of qualified people. And I realised that was all walks of life that were actually standing up for freedom. It wasn't, it was every genre, every religion, every race, every creed, every person from across demographics was there.
Absolutely.
And that was what I felt was never portrayed in the mainstream media, which is why I helped with the films that came out. I've helped with a lot of films, beautiful New Zealand films that have been produced and come out. And it really saddens me that those films are being ignored by mainstream media, because it's like censoring art. And for me, I'm 60 in a few days' time, and never in my life have I seen art censored in such a manner. And I mean, I faced that with people that I'd work with, that that said to me that me going to Parliament and singing equaled sedition, and that they removed songs that we'd done together, removed them from Spotify because they no longer wanted to associate with me. I mean, my heart broke. And so I was suffering this kind of exclusion from society that a lot of people were suffering. But then I got there and met people that were excluded from their families and realised how lucky I was, actually.
It's amazing, eh? And I think you can go one step further. You speak of art, but I think it's actually truth, you know, the truth. We're talking about the truth here.
Well, art being censored, you know, the last time something was censored like that, it was literature during World War II.
That's right. So
Yeah.
tell us also about Dr. Peter McCulloch. How did you get to know him? Is he your friend? Is it someone you work with?
Oh, well, I like to call him my Twitter friend. Yeah, he's during the time.
Hey, Twitter friend with 970,000 viewers, mind you.
Yeah,
viewers, followers.
Yeah, I've done an interview with him before around my son's injury. He has ongoing myocarditis and pericarditis after one shot of the vaccine. So I was interested in the different things because Dr. McCulloch was one of those brave doctors that has stood up, and is in fact one of the most published cardiologists in the world. And he, had lots of information, because a lot of those doctors that have stood up for the truth are the ones that are comparing notes with their patients who are vaccine injured. So they're looking for ways to treat. So I was really looking for what treatments might work for my son. So, so that was, and also I was involved in Silent No More, a movie called Memorial Day. So look that up. And it got blacklisted off YouTube. It's not even on YouTube. It's on Rumble, but it's had like maybe 170,000 views. And it's all about vaccine injured people in New Zealand. And so Dr. McCulloch actually helped with sharing that out to the world so that the world knew about New Zealand's vaccine injuries.
Beautiful. Aly, what is your main message in your song? Because a lot of people
really unity and coming together, and that's something that I've seen in New Zealand, because there's an election on and there's different people that are running. I'm seeing a split in the freedom movement, which breaks my heart, because all of us have been excluded from normal society. So to actually see us excluded from society and then little divisions coming in there, I just really dislike that, because a lot of those people that the divisions are now with were people that a few months ago I was working with. And so I just feel like I want to pull the unity, no matter what. I want us to stick together like glue so that we can support each other, because I think everyone's been through big emotional upheavals through this, being excluded from family, friends, social groups. And I don't think anyone really takes stock of how much damage that's done to people. So we truly need each other. So I think, that's the thing. I found lots of new friends, new people that I now know that I never knew before, and lots of my friends that I had for years and years and years that now don't even want to speak to me anymore because of my views. But hey, I've got a right to hold a view about the vaccine. It's very real to me. I have a family member who's seriously injured, and so I've got every right to stand up for my family. And I'm a big old mama bear.
What's your vision with this song, Aly? Because I've heard that you've got some support internationally, not just Dr. Peter McCulloch, but even people have asked you whether they could use it for their countries and insert their country's name in it. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, I've sort of got this wee idea. We're only 24 hours out of the start gate, as it were, with the song. But I thought, wouldn't it be neat if people could take it and they could find another freedom singer-songwriter in, say, Australia and the United States and Canada, and you could have Freedom United States, Freedom Canada, Freedom, and they could sing the song to the bed and redevelop, the song for their part of the world, because I think, everybody's got this battle going on around the world. It's not just us. So I'm going to reach out to a few freedom singer-songwriters around the world and see if they'd like to re-record it for their country. So if anybody sees this and you're keen, get hold of me.
Beautiful.
That's so cool. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Aly, can you let us know where people can listen to, download this song?
That's the important part. I want you to add it to your Spotify playlist so you can find Aly Cook Freedom New Zealand on your Spotify playlist. And there's actually a link as well, which I'll put in the comments below on everything. And you'll see it on the YouTube and you'll see it on the Twitter version. And it's a little link that's got gyro.to and then / Freedom New Zealand. And what that does is it takes you to a digital store where you can see Spotify, Apple Diesel, all the different digital platforms, and you can click on the one that you use and add it to your playlist and play it loud and play it often.
It's so exciting. And what else have you heard from some of your close friends? What have they said to you? What has their reaction been?
Yeah, it's been really actually someone texted me last night and just said about the whole, like, it felt inspiring, it felt patriotic. The song made them feel like it was very Kiwi and very New Zealand kind of patriotic unity, kind of like, so people were getting the right vibe off the song that I wrote the song to create in people. I want people to walk away from listening to the song and feel empowered and feel proud that they've stood up for truth and continue to and feel bold and feel powerful that they can do that, not feel deflated. I don't want people to feel deflated. I want to lift them up, and that's what I think the song's doing. So I'm getting good feedback on that front.
Yeah, I love I'm not a musical person, but boy, that song has stuck in my head. You hear it in your head all the time.
I'm dreadfully sorry about that, but
no, I love it. I love it, and I love the fact. Yeah, it's so nice to hear it again. I've been listening to it so many times, just enjoying it, and it just makes me happy. Actually, it makes me really happy. So I think that's tribute to you. That it just gives me a little bit of sense of belonging. It makes me feel really happy and feel connected to a wider sort of audience. So. That's really
so it's doing the job.
Oh, that's good. That's so good to know. And so tell us about this launch on Monday. So there's a launch happening on Monday. We're going to announce it. I believe we're going to announce where it's at. So people need to keep a lookout for it, your announcement, and they can come to a live launch in Auckland. You would like to be around the country, but you're doing your launch live in Auckland. So you will send out an invite.
Launch live in Auckland, out in South Auckland, and we'll have the details on the page soon on an event. So you're welcome to come along to that. So look out for that on my page and on Twitter. I'll post that up, and we're just going to show the video on a big screen and have a sing with all my singers. With all my singers that are on the video there, have a sing song and celebrate the release of the song. And then I'm going to be heading down the trail to Wellington.
Ooh, what's happening in Wellington? What is happening in Wellington?
I think there's lots happening around the country right now. I think there's tractors coming up in the other direction, and then there's a little gathering down in Wellington, standing up for, well, actually, it was a UN conference or something with Dr. Ashley Bloomfield, but I think they've moved it to online now, so they must be scared of us mama bears or something. But anyway, so there's we're just standing up for saying we don't want New Zealand sold out. We don't want international influence over our country. And I mean, really, it's people just don't understand how that's happening. Locally where I am in Mortuaca at the moment, we've got a council that's decided to take all the parks away up our main street, and people going, but people won't be able to go into our businesses, and we don't want that. And I mean, as it is, 2 B train trucks can barely pass up Motuaka's main street, and our little town is the service area for maybe 60 kilometres around it. people don't understand that money's coming from the Climate Emergency Response Fund. Now, you would think with a name like that, they'd be doing stop banks, seawalls, things like that to protect you from the environment. No. When you look into the fine print and you go to the Waka Kotahi and you look at the transport choices, it's actually to discourage you from driving your car. But they don't think about the consequences that they're going to kill a whole street of businesses by not giving them any parking outside it. For I go into Motueka, I might be lucky if I saw like a couple of push bikes every time I go. But somehow they say in their papers that there's 300 push bike movements a day. Someone said, what was it? Was there a triathlon on that day when you actually took those readings? But most people sort of think, oh, why are they taking the parks away? But then you realise that that's coming from central government. It's actually central government decision-making, making decisions for local communities, when the local communities should be the ones making decisions for their communities, not the other way around. And a lot of our government policies are, of course, coming in from international to national, to the central government, and then down to us at local level. And that's got to stop, really. So, yeah. So Wellington's about standing up against that, really.
Exactly. Hence the reason why there's a massive convoy happening. Nice.
Have you always been political, Aly? How long have you been involved politically?
Oh, well, a long time. Actually, the interesting thing is that as a musician, I've been quite outspoken about New Zealand On Air for the last 15 years, actually, about their funding, about that it was, I could see artists that I was working with that were finding it very hard to get any funding from New Zealand On Air, and I would see the same people get the funding over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and then I'd see one person that applied hundreds of times with great songs and got turned down for funding. So I was constantly saying that I didn't think multinational companies should be collecting that money in the name of their artists, because it's not the artists that would get the money, it would be the multinational companies. So I've been standing out about that for 15 years. And then guess where the Public Journalism Fund was actually distributed through? It was distributed through New Zealand On Air. And a few years back, I also was protesting because they removed all the money from community television stations, and it meant that several community television stations couldn't survive without that money anymore. And so I've been political around that in broadcasting and in funding for quite some time. And then also in the 1080 movement, probably the last 6-7 years as well, stopping 1080 poison, because I saw what it did. Friends of mine had deer farm on the coast, and they lost 13 deer because they dropped the pellets by accident on their farm. And then when they asked them to, they said they would pay out on it, they asked them to write out the invoice to track maintenance. So rather than we killed your deer, can you write it out for track maintenance? So I saw things that were being done then that were like, whoa, that's a corrupt, So that, people talk about it the last 2 years, but it's been there a long time. It's just, really, they've got away with it for quite some time. So when that happens, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And they, until people start going, what?
Yeah.
I think in the last 2-3 years, what has happened is much more people have woken up, isn't it? More people have woken up to what has actually happened, because it began to, I know for me, it began to affect my job and my business. And I began to think, whoa, this doesn't all look right, where there's something not quite right here. And, before that, I was busy running my business and carrying on with life. So that has been actually good. So even though COVID was such a terrible time, but in a lot of ways, it was actually shed light on just the corruption and
absolutely,
and what politicians actually do behind the scenes. So it's been good in that sense.
And I think with the song too, I think with the song too, Aly, it does actually remind people, of where we've been, what we've just journeyed through, Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is that a lot of people have, that's what I was saying, a lot of people have been through a lot. And I don't think people realise quite how much they've been through, because they've kept up this fight. But but the whole idea of the song is to make them feel stronger and to make them be bold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Bold
Very
and
good, Ali. What's the next phase? So yes, the launch is on Monday, and you'll give people all the information. What else is coming? And then you're, I suppose, going on the road with it. Right up to Wellington. So that's exciting. I suppose you never know, and you might get some international offers to,
travel.
get the song.
I hope that other people decide to record it and maybe do it for their country as well. I think that that's kind of funky. If we could imagine if you could have an international one where we all sung about world freedom and there were all of us that ended up singing together. I mean, that's the thing.
Nice.
There's been a lot of global cooperation throughout this. So we've seen, musicians work together. There's a thing called Jam for Freedom over in London that's been working with live concerts around the world. And we've got doctors we've got Asim Malhotra in the country at the moment, one of the greatest cardiologists traveling around with NZDSOS. We've got, so there's been a great deal of international cooperation has come about because of what we've been through. So,
right, yeah.
And that makes us stronger by having those international connections.
Yeah. There's a lot of awareness happening, isn't there?
Yep, absolutely.
Spotlight on it.
Yep.
And thank you so much, Ali, for your time. And is there any other message you want to give someone before we say goodbye? Do you want to say anything to the people of, why they should download it or why they should pass it on and share it to people? And do you want to give them any message?
Yeah, just put it on your playlist, play it loud, play it often, and be strong and be happy and be uplifted and don't let them get you down. Face them with a smile.
Yeah, love it.
That's such a good message, Ali. And so thank you so much. We feel so privileged to be part of it, to hear you, to kind of see how far we can take it and help you as much as we can, and to just be part of this journey with you. It's like such a pleasure, really. So thank you for allowing us to be part of this journey, and thank you for coming up here this evening and speaking to people. Just so much of joy. You brought a lot of joy and a lot of hope. I think the song is filled with a lot of hope as well.
And that's what I wanted to do inside the song, is fill people with hope and fill people with positivity, and I think it does that.
It does it very well. So congratulations again, and we're going to see, this is only the start. It's going to go 100 times more than where it is right now. So
hope so.
It's done really well, and so it's only 24 hours, as you say. So a lot more to go, a lot more people to see it. Maybe Dr. Asim Malhotra might see it, who knows, and he might start tweeting it, and there might be people that will tweet it and pick it up. So all the best, Ali, and we will chat with you hopefully again sometime.
That's right.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you. And don't forget to post the links on the comments so that people know where they can download the song. And then we'll also, I think, send them some information on the launch for Monday. So everyone's invited?
Yeah, they sure are. Look out for the invites.
Sounds good. Okay. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.